Hi everyone. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about the pit bull and how it's perceived as being dangerous, but we really want to change that for this breed. So imagine this. You're on vacation, or you want to go on vacation with your significant other. And of course you want to take your best friend, Rocky. You've had him ever since he was a puppy. You've trained him correctly. You've done everything right. You've socialized him. He's a great, loving dog, and he's very well-mannered. So of course you want to take him on vacation with you, right? So you start looking up hotels, and you start looking up the hiking trails because you want to go hiking. And you start looking at dog parks, and everything that you find says no pit bulls allowed. They're pet friendly, but they say no pit bulls allowed, just because people assume because it's a pit bull it's dangerous. So we really need to change this. The pit bull has been known as a dangerous dog for many years, and the pit bull is the product of their environment, and that's what people don't understand. A pit bull is really well-mannered dog if they're trained and socialized correctly. So according to Kathy Warren's PhD, who wrote the Salem Press Encyclopedia, there is research that links the behavior and psychology of the owner of vicious pit bulls to criminality. So that just goes to show that it's not the breed, it's the owner. So in their first study, Lisa M. Gunter, Rebecca T. Barber, and Clive D. L. Wine from Arizona State University looked at the attraction rate of these pit bulls. And so they showed photographs, professional photographs of pit bulls, not in shelter settings, and they showed them around and wanted to look and see how attractive these dogs looked. So compared to other breeds, these dogs have the lowest attraction. So people see, oh, it's a pit bull, it's dangerous, I don't want it. So then they also looked at how the look of the handler actually affects how attractive the breed is. So what they did was, I believe they used an older lady, and then they also used like a middle-aged man, and they both like walked the dog, and they wanted to see how the dog was perceived just because of the handler. And actually it does affect how the dog is looked at. They think, oh, an old lady has a pit bull, it must be nice. So that also affects the breed. So then in their next study, they wanted to look at the length of stay of these pit bulls. And then they also looked at how these pit bulls are viewed in the shelter setting. So they did the same thing as the first study, but they took photographs in shelters. And obviously, like, people see a dog in a shelter and they don't think of it as very attractive. And they found that the length of stay of these dogs is actually the longest. And then they also found that pit bulls also have lookalikes that look like pit bulls, but they're not actually pit bulls. And people see a dog that looks like a pit bull, they assume it's a pit bull, it's dangerous. So they found that there's no difference in length of stay of these dogs. So they just assume it's a pit bull, so they don't want it and they don't find it attractive. So then in their third study, they looked at the effects of breed labels. So they put a cage card on it, and it says pit bull. How are people gonna react? So what they found was, without these breed labels, these dogs are actually really attractive to potential owners. They compared the same dog with and without breed labels, and they found that without the breed labels, the same dog looks more attractive to people just because it doesn't have the label as being a pit bull. And then in their final study, they looked at removing the breed labels and how that affects their adoption rate and their length of stay. So they actually found that removing these breed labels actually increased their adoption rate and decreased their length of stay. So that's really important for people to understand, is that just because it's a pit bull, it does not mean it's dangerous. And that's what people associate it with. It's a pit bull, it's labeled as a pit bull, it's dangerous. But pit bulls still have the longest length of stay of all the other breeds in the shelters, but it did improve without the breed labels. So to change this perception that people have of pit bulls, people really need to be educated about the pit bull and the breed and what it represents and how they're abnormally supposed to act. So pit bulls are extremely active dogs. They like to be given exercise. They love to play. They're very trainable dogs. If you train them in the beginning, they tend to remember everything. They're very intelligent. They do well with short cycles of training, so doing short little training sessions instead of doing a really long one. And they also respond well to a low, slow voice, real low tone, instead of somebody with a high tone that yells and stuff when they train. So I mean, no really breed is going to look at that as a good way of training when they look at the way the voice is. Like, that's really important for any type of training of a breed. And then their normal traits, people don't understand that these pit bulls are normally not aggressive. They're not human aggressive. That is not a trait that they carry. That is a product of their environment and how they're trained. It's also really important for people to understand that these dogs get very attached very quickly. So a lot of times they get separation anxiety, which is really important for people to know, because if they leave them out and they have this separation anxiety, then they could possibly become destructive. Not because they're trying to be destructive, but because they're freaked out because their owners aren't there. So they have that anxiety and they tend to make a mess or anything like that. It's really important for people to know that, so that they know where they need to put their pit bull, so that they know that's not going to get into anything. These pit bulls are really loyal dogs. Everybody knows, like, they're big bodied, they're muscular, they're strong, but they're really loyal and they're really loving dogs. They love attention, they love being scratched, they love it all. So if this label of being dangerous is gone, then there's not going to be as many pit bulls in shelters, because people are going to adopt them because, oh, they're not dangerous anymore, you know. You're going to be able to take your pit bull to the park and to the dog parks and wherever you want, because there are not going to be no pit bulls allowed anymore. Anything that's going to be pet friendly will be pit bull friendly if we take away this dangerous label. You're going to be able to take your pet to pet friendly hotels. So in the example I used at the beginning, if this label is gone, then she's going to be able to take her dog wherever she wants on any vacation. And then you're also going to be free to rent in pet-friendly homes. It's really hard to find a renter or a leaser that will allow you to have a pit bull. So if this label is gone, then you're going to have a lot more options when it comes to finding a house to rent. So we really need to be an advocate for this breed. We really need to get rid of this label. And to do that, you really need to be the person to educate people, to help them understand their breed, help them understand what normal traits are, help them understand how to train them. These pit bulls are really loving dogs, and people don't seem to understand that because of this label as dangerous. Any type of pit bull owner or future owner really needs to educate themselves as well, so that if somebody asks them about their pit bull, they can explain it. They can train them correctly so that people see this pit bull as a very well-mannered dog, and then they're like, oh, it's not that dangerous. So it's really important for people to know how to train them. They know their behaviors. It's very important. And if this dangerous label is gone, pit bulls are going to be everywhere because they're such amazing dogs. Thank you.